Yes, Sirski! What's up, man? What's good? What's good? Happy Friday, man. We fucking made it. It's Friday, y'all. How's everybody doing, man? How's everybody doing? I hope everybody is having a beautiful end to their week, a beautiful Friday. Thank you guys for joining me, man. And welcome to another episode of the Jayson Estrera Show, where we talk about basketball, sports, and any topic that comes our way as accurate as possible. Now, today, we are going to be talking about rules in the NBA, specifically the travel rule. Are LeBron James and James Harden responsible for the change in the travel rule? We'll be discussing that today. We will also be talking about the reality of a role player's career and their life. You know, some of the things that aren't spoken about enough, and with today's social media and the players' ability to create content and control their narratives, they are now speaking out on some of these things, right? So we're learning about this stuff now. So we will be talking about that as well. And Angel Reese made some very interesting comment to some folks about Caitlin Clark, and I think that people are, one, worried about the wrong thing, and two, are reading what she said completely wrong. So we will get into that a little bit later, but first and foremost, let's react to this, man. So the Philadelphia 76ers are supposedly potentially moving to New Jersey. Now, the Philadelphia 76ers is one of the most historic teams in the NBA. It's one of the most historic franchises in the NBA. You know, they talk about the fact that their team practices are already in New Jersey. And this isn't happening immediately, right? So right here, spokesperson said, "We have worked tirelessly for the past 5 years to build an arena in Philadelphia, and negotiations remain ongoing with city leadership regarding our proposal at Market East. The reality is we are running out of time to reach an agreement that will allow the 76ers to open our new home in time for the 2031-32 NBA season. As a result, we must take all potential options seriously, including this one. New Jersey Sixers sounds horrible." And then the response said they would still be called the Philadelphia 76ers. The proposed arena is a 5-minute walk over a bridge. NJ is literally like 10 minutes from Philly. They would do a New York Giants situations, still call themselves the Philadelphia 76ers, but just home games are in New Jersey. Jersey's like 2 minutes away from Philly, LMAO, making it seem like they're moving 1,000 miles away. Nah, stay in Philadelphia for historical reasons. They just don't sit well with me. The 76ers might finally win a championship if this happens. They will have no fans. Everyone in New Jersey is already a Brooklyn Nets fan. This headline is such bait. They're still going to be called the Philadelphia 76ers. Their arena would just move over a bridge like 10 minutes away. So there's a couple of things to unpack with this conversation, right? I'm trying to think which to tackle first, right? All right, let's tackle some of the basic stuff, right? Team name. I don't like it, but it makes sense because, like they said, there's been a precedent, right, with the New York Giants playing in New Jersey, right? And, their reason, it has to be space, right? New York is very crowded. It's just very tight. So, hey, let's go to a place where we can have an arena, right? And no one bats an eye, right? So that makes sense. Being from New York, being from the East Coast, Philly is really close, right? Philly is extremely close. So in that sense, all of those things, like I said, it makes sense, right? All of those things logistically. The fans, right? Because clearly they won't be marketed as a New Jersey team. And like one of those fans said in the tweet, pretty much all New Jersey fans are either Brooklyn Nets fans or New York Knicks fans. So they're not going to be able to pull those fans away because Brooklyn thought that they could do that with the Knicks, and they have struggled, right? Even with a super team, with Kyrie, Harden, and KD, they were extremely popular. Don't get me wrong, but they still had to fight the New York Knicks fandom. However, like they said, it's literally just over a bridge for them. So they're going to maintain their fans, right? To me, what this is really about is the 76ers attempt to negotiate with the city, right? When you're in negotiations, you need leverage. And the city, in this case, if they have no reason to force this, right? If there's no actual reason for them to allow this to happen, because to the city they're like, you're not going to go anywhere, you're not going to actually move anywhere. This could just be an attempt to try to force the city's hand to let them build the arena. Or the city could say, all right, we're just not going to let you build the arena. We're still going to maintain the same fan base. You're still going to keep that team. Fuck it. Like, fuck it. So I think from that perspective, that's what the 76ers organization is trying to do. They're trying to leverage the ability to move because, like they said, they're running out of time to reach an agreement that will allow the 76ers to open our new home in time for the 2031-32 NBA season. So they're running out of time to be allowed to open a new arena. They can probably renew with the current arena. They just don't want to allow them to build a new one for whatever reason. And, they've been in constant negotiations that I'm assuming hasn't gone anywhere. And so they had to resort to this tactic, which is to create something public, to have an outcry. Because what happens is uninformed fans who don't know won't know that they already practice in New Jersey, won't know that it's very close. And so maybe the outcry could force the city's hand and say, okay, let's just let them do it because we're getting a lot of negative backlash because of this. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, either way it goes, honestly, whether they allow them to build an arena or they're forced to have an arena in New Jersey, I think it'll still work fine for them either way. For the players, it'll be a change in their travel route, I guess. But outside of that, they'll be all right. They'll be all right. So. Now, speaking of a former Philadelphia 76er, let's talk a little bit about role players. Let's see here.
The first day. I'm not lying. Like shit. I had to go talk to my sponsors. So when people are like, yo, I got partners. Luckily, that 2 dropped. It's like, oh, I guess I'll be a Philadelphian or whatever. Nah, but, you know.
Oh shit! And obviously, you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. You go on draft night. How was that process for you? Because you know what I'm saying. You number 2 pick.
Yeah, that was it was a cool, you know, draft process when I hear everybody else's horror stories, you know. But I was blessed. It was cool. I did one workout, and when the balls dropped, we were we knew that I would go to Philly because John Wall was legit. So John Wall was the consensus, and I just knew like when number 2 dropped, it's like, oh, I guess I'll be a Philadelphian.
Okay. So, okay. Yep.
Luckily, that was the case, and we went and did a workout, and you know everything worked well until the first game.
Until game 1.
Life changed.
What happened the first game, bro?
No, just like shit was real. Like, shit, I was supposed to come in and be Brian, right?
I was supposed to come in and be Brian.
I had to go talk to my sponsors. So when people are like, yo, I got partners, like, bro, I didn't have them by the second year. So
why did you think you was coming to the league and you was gonna be the man on Philly?
Because I was cold.
You was wrong. You wasn't saying clearly, but that was Iggy and them team.
Yeah, you got drafted to a tough team.
No, bro.
And to be honest with you, I'm just joking. I got drafted to a really good team in a really good situation. And when I thought of Philly, I was like, no, I want to go to Golden State at number 7 because I wanted to play with Steph. Like, Paul's really, really bad. And I just knew the fit. And I knew Dre wasn't no slouch. But back in the day, people forget, we just started going into this team ball. Like, before, it was like a couple years before that, like the Trailblazers didn't draft KD because they didn't think B-Roy and KD, like, it had to be one alpha guard.
So, you know, for a long time, right, there's this way of thinking for NBA fans that when you are a role player, you sort of just shut up and take what's given to you, right? And then, you know, during these summer runs and they're able to perform and do well and whatnot, then fans are like, well, why the fuck don't you do that in the game? And a lot of people don't understand this dynamic between the role players and stars and the kind of careers that these guys end up having. So let's have Patrick Beverley, who, you know, just signed a deal overseas, talk about this.
And that's the thing what people don't get. I get to play basketball. You gotta understand, like, I started putting the ball in the hole, right? That was me. I put the ball in the hole. My European career, I'm MVP of the same league I'm going back to. I'm putting the ball in the hole.
Are you going for MVP again?
I'm going to win everything. Obviously, you get to the NBA, you have to play different roles, but now I go back to a role where 7 seconds to go, give me the ball, watch me rock. Isolation, step back. I get the hoop.
High school Pat Bev?
The purity in that. You know, that's what people forget about. Like, it's cool. I played a great role. I had a phenomenal NBA career while I was in the NBA, you know. But I don't want to stand in the corner and play with the Bucks. We win game 5. Ball in my hand. Dips
20-something.
Double. And then game 6, we get a little healthy. Ball out my hand. Not because I did anything wrong, because it's hierarchy. So I'm like, no, I don't think it's the best brand for me. And I experienced a ton. And it's the thing what people don't get. I get to play basketball. You gotta understand.
right? So there's some people that have this mentality where I guess the thing that's also different is when you've already had a long NBA career, right? When you've already proven yourself in the NBA, you know, whether fans or casual fans think you're a good player or not, basketball junkies know when these role guys are actual good players, and the fact that they have to scale their games back because of the team, right? So, you know, Evan Fournier recently rejected a contract from the NBA from a losing team to play overseas. So Fournier is a 12-year pro. Obviously, if you guys watched the Olympics, you saw him playing with Wemby on France. And he had recently... Where is this? Where does it talk about... Well, he had recently turned down a contract with the Washington Wizards. Offer a 2-year deal with the Washington Wizards in a mentoring role. Fournier explained that he did not want to continue his career in a losing team. It appears that the 32-year-old sharpshooter has been considering jetting back overseas for a while. He suited up for French squads Nanterre 92 in 2009-10 and the Poitiers 2010-12 before being selected with the number 20 overall pick in the 2012 NBA draft. So he'd already thought about it. And here's the thing, right? At 32 years old, he's still at a great age, right? He's already had a 12-year career. And a mentoring role in the NBA is great and it's necessary. But if you are Evan Fournier and you feel like you can still contribute to a team, and they're asking you to basically come here, work out, and sit on the bench to develop these young guys, and your other option is to, let's say, make around the same money, sometimes even more, to then become the number one option star player of a team. I think it's very telling as to what this NBA life is really like. You know, I think us as fans, in the media even, our whole lives have made the NBA look like glitz and glamour. Right? The Chicago Bulls in the 90s won 6 NBA championships. Three back-to-back championships twice. They did it twice, right? And all the videos, all the highlights, the conversation about that team and that era, everything is so positive and so great. Michael Jordan's the greatest ever. Scottie Pippen's one of the greatest small forwards ever. Blah, 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 blah. From the outside looking in, you're like, that was perfect. The whole team, yeah, maybe it's tough. You've always heard rumblings about how Michael Jordan was in the locker room. Competitive, tough, cursing people out. I mean, if you've watched basketball long enough, that Steve Kerr getting punched story is not new. And so, from the outside looking in, it looked great. You know, you were able to play with the greatest player ever. You're considered a 3-time NBA champion. All of these things, right? Even Scottie Pippen, the second best player on the team. And then they go on a world tour shitting on that situation. Almost to say the championships damn near weren't worth it. And you see some of these role players who play in the NBA and they're stars because the NBA is so massive, right? Even if they're role guys, they're sometimes considered, sometimes they still end up very popular. Take like a Patrick Beverley, for example. He's like, that's great, but I just want to play basketball. It's so easy for us to tell a guy to go sit in the corner because LeBron or Steph or Harden or whoever it is doing their shit, right? It's so easy for us to downplay the work that those other guys have put in. I know that there's been NBA players that have come out and said, not all NBA players work on their craft. Not all guys are in the gym all the time, training, working out, which I'm sure is true. But even that statement doesn't mean that it's everyone on that team. There are still guys on that team that are out there working on their game, doing their thing, and either don't get their name called or are asked to still limit their game for the betterment of the team. And that's why some of these bonds between stars and role players are so tight, because I would imagine the stars see that. These guys coming in, working on their shit every day. And then when they come in the game, they follow the game plan and the coach's rules to a T. And you got to respect that as a player and as a person. Because you got to understand that's difficult. Take Jayson Tatum, for example. I know I ended up tabling this conversation. But Jayson Tatum spoke about, and you could downplay this. You could say crying for millionaires or NBA, whatever. You could downplay it all you want. But what we try to relate to the relatable aspect of it, right? He's been not just a starter, but a number 1, number 2, number 3 option on every team he's been on. Probably damn near since he was in, I don't know, middle school, grade school, high school, somewhere along there. So from that to all of these years in the NBA, you got to think about the Boston Celtics with Isaiah Thomas, with Kyrie Irving. All of these different teams he was a part of. He was always one of the best players on the team. Team USA, he was the best guy in the last Olympics. So to go from that to now, go sit your ass on the bench or don't even play this game, or you're not, basically saying you can't help us win in a big way, that does something to you. That does something to you. And so we can't discount that aspect of it, right? That part is extremely important. And so to picture that in a player, in a role player, someone that's been a role player their whole career, to have that be their everyday reality, it's got to be tough. Knowing you could do more, training, working out, knowing you going to get motherfucking 10 minutes. To have these conversations, yeah, you're going to get like 11, 12 minutes at max. Imagine those conversations. And now that the game has grown and these other leagues are now becoming more popular, basketball is becoming more popular, we're gonna see guys branch out into these other teams in the later part of their careers. So that's something that we are, we're going to just see, right? It's just it's just what's gonna happen. So that's the reality of these guys. Some of them just wanna hoop, right? They wanna feel that I'm the guy again. Because when you're going into the NBA, everyone is the best from where they're from. Everyone is literally the best from where they're from. That's what the NBA is. And now all of those guys who are the best from where they're from, when they all come together, you get ranked again, basically. And for some guys, that's easier to take than others. And that's why we see some guys fizzle out. Not necessarily because they're bad or because of anything. Just they can't take it. People were expecting too much out of them and they couldn't live up to it. All of these different scenarios, right? And so that leads me to this aspect of it, right? Because Evan Turner was speaking about this a little bit. About his personality. That fuck you personality, right? You're not gonna disrespect me. I come from a different time. I come from a different place. You're not just gonna disrespect me to my face, right? And the issue is when a player has that mentality, but isn't one of the best players in the world. Because we just had the blackballed conversation, right? About Melo, Cousins, and Dwight Howard. How they've been seemingly blackballed from the NBA. It took many years for them to get to that point. And the only reason was because they were so great and also because they were so popular. Especially for Melo and Dwight. For all the hate that they got throughout their careers, they also had a lot of love. And that's why they had their spot in the league, right? They weren't just great, but they were popular. But it seems like there are situations and moments where people's personalities are valued over their game. And we see this on every level. We see this on a media level, right? With a Jayson Tatum, with a LeBron. Think of anyone that people hate, with a James Harden, with a Trae Young. People value their personalities and their character, I guess you could say, over their game in basketball, right? They use those things that they dislike about them as factors when assessing these people as players. It happens in the NBA. Right? If you don't have the personality to get along with your coaching staff, with your organization, if you're not a team rah-rah guy, if you're not an NBA guy, they say it in the UFC all the time. If you're not a company man or woman, you're going to have a tough time. It just is what it is, right? I was watching Gil's Arena, and Gilbert Arenas and Brandon Jennings were talking about Stan Van Gundy. And like if you didn't follow the weird shit he was doing, you were just gonna sit on the bench. And Kenya Martin was basically saying, I wouldn't have done all that, da 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 da. And they said he would have shipped you out. Kenya Martin's a great player. a great asset to any team. He added a lot of value. Now, because he doesn't want to put on knee pads and practice in a hotel ballroom because they don't have access to a gym for whatever reason, and the danger in that slipping and it looking just stupid, his career could take a turn because Stan Van Gundy had the power to sit you, trade you, and not only trade you, but just like your work, give you a bad reference. Oh, this guy's a piece of shit, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Telling their friend or the other general manager or the other coach about this player incoming. So now they have this notion of you before you even land there. And the danger in that, right? Because all the time they tell the athletes to take their emotion out of the game. But how is it that the referees, the coaches, the organizations can't do that? The players' playing field is on the court. The organizations, it's in the meeting rooms where they're negotiating. For the coaching staff, it's in their film. You can't be emotional in your place. The same way you ask these guys to not be emotional in their in that between those lines. The least they could do is expect the same out of you, but it's not the case, right? And so we're seeing time and again how personalities get in the way of basketball. You keep saying Russell Westbrook is this, that, the third. He has a strong personality. Why the fuck did you get him? If you know you can't mix with his personality. That is the most brain dead shit ever. And then use him as a scapegoat as to why things aren't working out when he been like that since he came in the NBA. Crazy is doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result. So personalities are extremely important, man. They're extremely important. I'm sure that they have made and they have also broke some careers in the NBA and in anywhere, to be honest with you. Something that we all got to work on, right? Something we all got to work on. Now, for this next topic, we're going to be talking about the traveling rule. And whether or not LeBron and Harden were the reason that they changed the 3-step or the traveling rule, right? So let's take a look at this this old clip. Is it this one? Here you go.
TV's own David Aldridge, who you can also catch Daily News. Frank, thank you. Well, he was driving to try and tie the game with Washington in the waning moments when he was called for traveling. LeBron not happy with the call and in part said it was, quote, a crab dribble.
A crab dribble.
Not a walk that we saw on his way to the hoop. Well, referee Bill Spooner was asked about it. He's the one who waved off the play called the violation. He clarified his ruling via email, writing to a pool reporter saying, quote, 3 steps on the move to the basket, basic travel call. Really couldn't make it any more simple than that. Here's what the parties involved had to say about the play in question.
It's a bad call. Like I said, I watched it again. And I took a crab dribble, which is a hesitation dribble. and then 2 steps. Everybody, all guys can watch it. And,
He said that shit with a straight face.
So it would have been 3-point play.
That's the hottest thing on the market right now. You know,
That's comedy,
crab
bro.
dribble, travel, or is it regular dribble, and you can gather your feet. I think he established his pivot once he jump stop.
Dribble. A lot of folks probably hearing that term for the first time.
Me too. I think I know.
So, if a lot of you guys don't remember, this was a thing. This was 15 years ago. And the crab dribble, the crab step, right? The crab dribble is basically the Smitty, right? Where you do a half spin backwards. That's what they're kind of referring to in the dribble. Although, in that time, he traveled because he took 3 steps. It was clear 3 steps after he gathered the ball, right? But, like I said, this was 15 years ago. So now here is head referee Ronnie Nunn, who's talking about the James Harden step back.
Night, Rockets versus Spurs, and who better to bring in than Ronnie Nunn, a 19-year NBA veteran, a referee, and also head of officials for 5 and head of development for 3 more. So, Ronnie, man with the information for us, explain why people are so upset about this setback, why they think it's a travel, and whether they're right or wrong.
You know, first of all, it is not a travel, so we'll get that out. And it's about when a player gathers the ball. If you want to go to the side, if you want to step back, if you want to step forward, it's the same all the way over. It's a gather and a 1-2 step. And when I was a director, I was trying to get the officials to not try to break down this thing in such detail. It's a dance. It's a step. It's an understanding of how the waltz is done. Everybody who knows anything about a dance knows that waltz has that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and ours is 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2. So when you see that kind of step in action, see the rhythm of the play. Basketball is about art and rhythm also. And so you'll see the gather on James Harden's right foot, and then he launches off that right foot to the left, and then the right foot again into the jump shot. This is nothing new in basketball. The great Charlie Scott of New York City and University of North Carolina was great at taking his jump stops and leaping off. So this is the same concept, and it's a great shot. Matter of fact, it's a heck of a shot from that distance.
Yeah.
So did they change the 3-step rule? Right? Because I know for a lot of years, Harden was the one that was getting the credit for this, right? Because he had done it going backwards. The reality is this, right? Players, stars in particular, have been getting away with travel calls for forever. For forever. Right? Michael Jordan used to do it. They've all done it, right? Because the thing about the NBA, right, and these players, they are super athletes. They are so fast. They are so quick that these things happen in the blink of an eye. Especially going towards the rim, right? Going towards the rim, guys are going at full speed. They're doing all of these different moves, right? When they started introducing the Euro is when going to the basket started to slow down a little bit, right? Because now people were finessing their way in, and you were able to see the steps a lot clearer. But up until then, people have been getting away with steps. It's the NBA. If you've ever watched the game, pretty much every fast break, and I mean pretty much every fast break, damn near whether it's a 3, damn near whether it's a 2 or a 3, a layup or a 3, they pretty much travel every fucking time. I'm so serious. NBA referees just let it go. And there's the other reality too, right? High school, college, and the NBA are all refereed differently. The steps, the rules are all a little bit different. The most lenient is the NBA. And clearly, according to that referee, the rule changed. They don't want to call it that, but a travel is now 4 steps. That's what that really is, right? You are now allowed 3 steps, not 2. They just don't call it that. Now it's 4 steps for it to be considered a travel. And I'll be honest, I'm not saying I'm no fucking genius, right? I'm not at all. I'm far from it, right? But I used to wonder, because when you're training, right? When you're training and you're going to the basket and you're trying, especially when you're learning left-handed, right? When you're learning you're left-handed, you take the 1-2, you have to slow down, right? Because you're trying to get the footing and the steps right? So you really learn the 1-2, right? And it helps you when you're going right because you're more conscious of it. And so I used to wonder, is there a way to do this in, away from the rim? And obviously I was never able to do that, right? But clearly James Harden has. And on top of them changing the rule, he's made it work. And I really think, and this is why I like Harden's game, right? Because he's clearly someone that thinks about these things, right? He thinks about, movement. He thinks about rules. He thinks about, all right, can I take steps this way, like steps that way? And I'm trying to find this. I'm trying to see if this is it. Is this it? No. Where the fuck is that new step back he had? Where is this shit, bro? He did it at like the Drew League or something. But it's one of those where he's basically taking, if you're thinking about, going a 1-2 step towards the rim, he's basically taking a 1-2 step, going away, shooting away from his body. And it was just a matter of him getting the steps down. And, to see someone that just works on their game like that is just, like here, he basically hits a Euro from 3. And you can't even deny that that's 2 steps. You can't, even if you tried. Here, let's slow this bitch down. Let's slow it down. Alright, he pull it back. Jesus. Because he didn't dribble 1, 2. Yep, it's 2 steps. Like, it's just, it's not their fault that the game changed, right? There's there's many highlights of LeBron traveling, and that was what Shaq made a whole show out of it called Shaq Didn't Fool, because guys would travel and do dumb shit and get away with it. So it's easy to call out some of these guys. It's very easy to point at James Harden when and I know players have done it too, right? But the rule changed. And clearly he's studying up and doing his homework and trying to understand to have an advantage. And you got to respect that part of it, right? Now, that was it. Just very quickly, I just want to get this out there, just on record. I think Paolo Banchero's gonna have a phenomenal year. I don't know, something about seeing him just working out this summer, seeing him with Luka, Tatum, and Zion, on that Jordan Brand tour. I think these experiences will go a long way. And I think it's exposing him to what stardom really is like and giving him a taste of it, giving him the playoffs. And I think he's about to turn the fuck up. So, Ja and Zion are in that fold that I keep saying are, they're going to claim their spot at the top of the NBA. I think Paolo Banchero is right behind them. So we got to watch out for him, because I think he is going to be unreal this season. Absolutely unreal. Now, on this final topic, we are going to talk about these Angel Reese comments. So let's get right into it.
Whenever you think of Angel Reese, people often mention Caitlin Clark. You've said in interviews, there's no beef, but the media keeps going on. So how do you feel about that situation?
Caitlin is an amazing player, and I've always thought she was an amazing player. We've been playing each other since high school. So I think it's really just the fans, her fans, the Iowa fans, now the Indiana fans that are like, they ride for her. And I respect that respectfully. But sometimes it's very disrespectful. I think there's a lot of racism when it comes to it, and I don't believe she stands on any of that. But when it comes to death threats, like, I'm talking about people have come down to my address, following me home. Like, it's come down to that. Multiple occasions, people have made AI pictures of me, like, naked. Literally.
Really?
They have sent it to my family members. My family members are like, uncles are sending it to me like, are you naked on Instagram? It sucks to see that, and it's really hard that I have to go through that, and now seeing other players even having to go through that. But like, at the end of the day, it's a game that we do both love, but there is no hate.
Wait, she was talking about what the...
This is your platform.
Let's see here.
Talk trash to each other in AAU. Like, that, it's been that.
Picks, run your game. But the media...
Here, let's find it right here.
Keeps going on.
I think just being able to be in that moment of it happening, you never realize how something can literally change your life. And knowing my 5 fingers and my other finger pointing at my hand could literally have changed my life for like forever is crazy. And knowing that, like, Caitlin is an amazing player, and I've always thought she was an amazing player. We've been playing each other since high school. Like, literally been playing each other since high school. And like, knowing that, like, there's never been beef. Like, we've talked trash to each other in AAU. Like, that, it's been that. So I think it's really just the fans, her fans, the Iowa fans, now the Indiana fans that are like, it's her fans. I'm sure she's talking about like basketball death threats. Other players that we do, sure. Like we're gonna. There is, but like at the end of the day, it's a game that we do both love. But there is no hate. No hate. We're gonna play on the same team one day. I'm sure. Like we're gonna definitely play on the same team one day. So
maybe
that's
20.
So, you know, I know there's a lot of morons out there that'll say to get over it. No one should have to deal with the shit that she is dealing with, and I understand that it's the price of fame, but you know, people also got to understand that this is new for them, right? Not only is it new for Angel Reese, but it's new for WNBA players. This type of attention, this type of fandom, right? NBA fans have been like this for forever. So people have kind of adjusted and learned how to sort of deal with it, right? And there are players that have dealt with it that could teach younger generations and have taught younger generations how to deal with certain things, right? And the NBA has, you know, been able to control the things that they control. And the WNBA as a league is learning, right? So Angel, no one should ever have to deal with that shit. That's fucked. You know, it's very similar to the Beehive, the Beyonce fans, you know, the Nicki Minaj fans, the Swifties. It's very confrontational. It's very toxic and negative sometimes. Bron fans, Jordan fans, all like, you know, these fans are rabid. People use that word for a reason because it's on site damn near. Can't say shit about their favorite person. And I do agree that part of that does feed into it, right? But more importantly, to the teammate comment that Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark will be teammates. Some people are saying it's cope. Some people are saying, oh, she's lying, it's cap, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. One, we don't actually know what their relationship is like, right? Angel Reese talks shit to everybody, right? So to single out Caitlin Clark is you're not telling the full story because Angel Reese is like that to everyone. That's just her character. It's how she plays. It's what makes her great. And we see Caitlin Clark talks a lot of shit too. Hence why they've had the exchange that they've had. Right? And to those that hate on the Angel Reese shit, that photo is fucking cold. That's a moment. 20 years from now, yeah, she'll remember some of the hate, but the photo will be the photo. It is what it is. It's fire. Right? And so, like I said, we don't really know what their actual relationship, their personal relationship is, if they have one. Right? Like you said, they've been playing against each other since high school. We've heard these stories before. People get close because of these things, right? You're on the same trajectory. Not everyone on your team in high school is gonna make it to the league, so you can only confide in so many people that are going through the same experience as you. So maybe that is their relationship, right? More importantly, though, her saying that they're gonna become teammates one day, that she's sure of it, I think is a much bigger sign to the power that they potentially have in the WNBA. We keep comparing them to the NBA now, and it looks like they're on an accelerated path to get to it. One being the power shifting to the players, being able to control their destiny, control who kind of comes and goes on their team. And I don't know if that's her just trying to speak it into existence. I don't know if she's aware of the pull that she actually has, which, by the way, if anyone thinks that she is not added to the fan base, you are out of your fucking mind. She's absolutely added to this space. So, excuse me. Oh, I got one more. Excuse me. Wow, bless me. Thank you. So, to act and pretend as if Angel Reese is not a massive personality, everything she's done causes a reaction out of people. So, she is absolutely a star. But like I said, even deeper than that, I think they will be able to call their shots sooner than later, which is cool, because then we'll see different team ups in the WNBA. Yo, my allergies just fucking attacked and killed me, y'all. Listen, I'm gonna get off right now. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for kicking it with me. Please like, comment, subscribe, all that good shit. It really helps the channel out. We're trying to take this shit to Jupiter. Y'all could have been anywhere on the internet, but y'all were here with me, and I appreciate you for that. So thank you guys for joining me, man. I will see y'all later. I will not be here starting next week. I'll probably be on Thursday. Like I said, I'll be away. I love y'all. Thank you guys for hanging out. I'll see y'all later. Peace, 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 peace. Thank you guys again, man. Later.